You're watching Fox 34. Western Oregon's only 7 o'clock news. Fox 34 News at 7 starts now.
Hundreds protest against President Donald Trump, billionaire Elon Musk, and the White House's policies out in the rain today to demonstrate against them. They're all at the Eugene Federal Courthouse joining a national call to action. Good evening and thanks for joining us for Fox 34 News at 7. I'm Judi Unruh. Now, Tiffany Lewis was at today's protest in Eugene and spoke with the President's Day protesters.
People gathered at the downtown Eugene Federal Courthouse protesting Trump's administration and what they call anti-democratic policies, joining a nationwide call for 50 protests, 50 states, one movement.
Show me what democracy looks like!
This is what democracy looks like!
Show me what democracy looks like!
At least 500 people gathered near the Mill Street and 8th Avenue intersection in front of the Wayne L. Morse Federal Courthouse. Dubbed No Kings on President's Day, the rally comes less than 2 weeks after the last round of widespread rallies and protests. The 50-51 movement was started by grassroots organizers spreading the word on Reddit forums, Instagram, Blue Sky, and other social media platforms.
It's so important to me that we are visible and that Musk and Trump, that somebody tells them that the American people are not going to lie down and just take this and go willingly into the night. We are going to fight for our democracy.
The protests follow a series of controversial executive orders signed by President Trump and actions led by billionaire Elon Musk's Doge organization. One demonstrator said she's worried about political instability and the potential loss of federal program benefits as the White House moves to lay off thousands of federal workers in an effort to shrink government and cut excessive costs.
I don't want my family to lose their benefits and their housing and their insurance.
And hundreds of cars drove by, many honking their horns in support of the peaceful protest.
We need to have empathy and we need to have diversity. We need to have inclusion. We need to have people who are willing to speak out when things aren't right.
In Eugene, I'm Tiffany Lewis reporting.
Well, as Tiffany explained, this was a nationwide protest, including multiple locations throughout the U.S. and throughout the state of Oregon. And here's how things looked in Portland near City Hall, with more than 1,000 protesters voicing their concerns. In addition to Portland and Eugene, there were protests in other spots like on the coast. Here's some video sent to us of protesters in Florence. And we also received these photos from people out in Coos Bay, and we were told there was a heavy presence of BLM employees on the South Coast, many whose jobs are at stake. More than 250 people showed up near Highway 101. Now, these protests today come amid cuts to the Federal Aviation Administration. The FAA was put to work today following an incident at Toronto's Pearson Airport. A Delta Airlines plane that departed from Minneapolis landed upside down on the tarmac. The FAA says 80 people were on board, but all have been evacuated. Paramedics say one passenger is critically injured and at least another 7 were hurt.
We came here and then my friend rushed there first, and then he said the CRJ is crashed on the runway. So I was like, yeah, I gotta go check it out. And the next thing I saw is basically a plane the CRJ plane that basically flipped on the runway.
Now, CRJ refers to a Canadian regional jet. This incident remains under investigation. And just this past Friday, several hundred FAA employees were let go as part of the Trump administration's cuts to federal probationary workers. The administration sent out a batch of emails late Friday night, firing staff, according to a union representative. The workers let go were involved in a variety of roles, including radar, landing, maintenance, and at least one air traffic controller. The National Air Traffic Controllers Association said today that it's analyzing the impact of the cuts on aviation safety. And these cuts are all part of the plan for the Department of Government Efficiency, or DOGE. But leaders are raising the alarm about what could be the next part of DOGE's plan to access some of the most sensitive taxpayer data in the country. National correspondent Matt Galka has a closer look from Washington.
A member of Elon Musk's Department of Government Efficiency is expected to gain access to one of the most secure systems of the Internal Revenue Service. The Washington Post reports the DOGE team could have access to the Integrated Data Retrieval System, an account with detailed information on millions of American taxpayers that very few have access to. Unauthorized access is considered a felony. The Trump administration says it's needed because of DOGE's mission to root out waste, fraud, and abuse. But Democrats don't see it that way. California Democrat Jimmy Gomez called the IRS access a 5-alarm warning in a post on X, saying Musk and DOGE's actions are a blatant power grab and illegal. Democrats have been bashing DOGE's work, including a push for layoffs across the government, with cuts that have recently hit the IRS and also the VA.
Here's a message that they're waging a war on veterans. They're doing willy-nilly layoffs at the VA.
The firings hitting the IRS come during a busy tax season. Republicans have generally cheered on DOGE's work despite the cuts.
When you start cutting departments, some people's jobs are lost. And that it hurts us because we don't want anybody to lose their job. But at the same time, we have to get it under control, because if we don't get our debt under control, it becomes a national security. Can you imagine if we get downgraded?
The firings also extended to the Federal Aviation Administration, with hundreds of probationary employees being let go. The cuts come weeks after a deadly passenger jet crash in Washington, D.C. Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy posted that Musk's SpaceX team would be helping to modernize the air traffic control system. DOGE also continued to target DEI programs, with the group claiming to cancel almost $400 million worth of education grants over the weekend. Reporting in Washington, I'm Matt Gelka.
I'll take a look at the radar satellite from this afternoon. You can see a little bit of shower activity making its way through the area in that higher elevation snow. And we're also looking at cloudy skies throughout the day today, and that should continue on into tonight. In fact, let's take a look at your power planner for tonight and into your day on Tuesday. We still could see some scattered showers early on in the evening. Otherwise, a cloudy sky tonight. Those overnight temperatures will drop down into the low 40s. And then as we get into tomorrow, highs will be in the low 50s. Maybe some showers developing later on in the morning and into the afternoon. And as we take a look at your weather headlines, again, those scattered showers tonight with rain chances tomorrow. Our temperatures for the next couple of days will be near average, and then we're going to get a little bit warmer as we get toward the end of the week. Rain will be likely on Wednesday, but we may see a break as we get toward the end of the week. We'll talk more about that with your full forecast in just a bit.
All right. Thanks so much, Alan. Well, extreme weather is battering millions across the country. 11 people have died, including a child, following record rainfall and flooding in Kentucky. Officials fear the death toll will keep rising as the flood threat lingers across the southeast and the Midwest. And tens of millions of Americans are now under cold weather alerts across the country, with life-threatening temperatures on the horizon. Michael Yoshida has the details.
When temperatures get that cold, lives are at risk.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott warning a month after storms dump snow across the southern United States, Texans should prepare for another round of extreme winter weather, including frigid temperatures, which could be life-threatening in some parts of the country.
If people are not paying attention to it, they're going to be shocked by what's going to happen over the next few hours and the next few days. And actually, in some places in the state of Texas, it may be the coldest event ever marked in history.
From Texas to Montana, more than 30 million people under cold alerts. Snowfall also expected. 4 to 10 inches could be dumped in Kansas, Missouri, and Illinois, and 3 to 6 in Kentucky, still reeling from a weekend of deadly flooding.
It's impacted all of Kentucky. All of Kentucky still has standing water in different areas.
A state of emergency declared, with record rainfall leading the Kentucky State Police to perform more than 1,000 rescues in less than 24 hours. First responders warning people of the dangers of water-covered roadways.
It does not matter how deep it is, don't try to cross it. Small cars, it'll sweep you right off the roadway.
Tennessee and Virginia filled with similar sites of high water. Officials warning as flood concerns continue, the next threat is on the horizon.
This is a dangerous situation. Power could be out for some considerable amount of time. There's cold weather coming.
In Washington, I'm Michael Yoshida reporting.
Well, closer to home, an investigation is underway after a shooting in West Eugene early this morning. Around 4 a.m., deputies and medical personnel responded to the 27,000 block of West 11th Avenue to reports of the shooting. Now, the Lane County Sheriff's Office says there is no ongoing threat to the community, and deputies have spoken with all parties involved. And while that investigation is active and ongoing, LCSO says it is also looking into an illegal marijuana grow at the same location. The investigation is active once again and ongoing, and we'll continue to follow it as new information becomes available. Meanwhile, deputies in Douglas County busted a chop shop operation after a months-long investigation into stolen vehicles and property. The focus of the investigation is a residence in the 200 block of Lower Crest Road in Yoncalla. Their investigators recovered 10 stolen vehicles along with property belonging to the Department of Transportation. The investigation also led to the recovery of stolen vehicles and equipment in Eugene and Sweet Home. 3 people have been arrested so far and charged with everything from possession of a stolen vehicle to criminal mischief and aggravated theft. Deputies say more arrests are possible. And still to come on Fox 34, just one day away from negotiations between the U.S. and Russia about its conflict in Ukraine. That's set to begin on Tuesday in Saudi Arabia. The latest next. Plus, here's a look at the tower cam tonight. A beautiful evening, Eugene. Just a little bit of rainfall, but not bad at all. Stay with us.
News at 7.
Well, welcome back. European leaders holding an emergency summit in Paris today to discuss security on the continent and the future of Ukraine as they are sidelined from U.S.-Russia talks in Saudi Arabia. National correspondent Andra El-Nashar has more on the pressure they're under to ramp up their defenses.
Ahead of the 3rd anniversary of Russia's invasion of Ukraine, President Trump exerting pressure on European allies.
He believes that our European friends must play a bigger role in the future of this continent.
A bigger role means European NATO members increasing their defense spending. The alliance's new Secretary General agrees.
The European part of NATO has to spend more.
From the Munich Security Conference, Mark Rutte points to the rising threat of an emboldened Russia and China, making the case for increasing NATO's guideline level of defense spending from its current 2% of a member nation's GDP to at least 3%.
We not only have to do this because it is fair towards the Americans, but also because we have to make sure that we can protect ourselves collectively.
In terms of GDP, the United States is not NATO's top spender, or even second most. Poland is number 1 by far, spending more than 4% of its GDP, followed by Estonia, then the United States, Latvia, and Greece in the top 5. Germany, Europe's biggest economy, agrees more funding is necessary. UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer points out they've already committed £3 billion per year to Ukraine until at least 2030, and wrote in the Telegraph the UK is ready and willing to contribute to security guarantees to Ukraine by putting our own troops on the ground if necessary.
Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky making an additional argument for Europe to step things up. He says Ukraine has intelligence Russian President Vladimir Putin is preparing soldiers within Belarus, suggesting a future attack on a NATO country.
There is a high risk that he can do the same. Maybe not. God bless not.
No, I don't agree. I don't agree with that. Not even a little bit.
A fundamental disagreement with Ukraine as Trump is poised to play a major role in deciding its future, for the time being excluding the Europeans he demands be more involved. In Washington, I'm Andra El-Nashar reporting.
Well, even though we saw some good rainfall over the weekend and some rain today, we are still below our average amount of precipitation for the month of February. Eugene, right at 2/3 of an inch below average. Roseburg, just a little over half an inch below average. And Coos Bay, about 1 3/4 of an inch below average. Now, we are looking at some rainfall as the week progresses, especially as we roll on into Wednesday. Now, as we look at the radar satellite, really not a lot to show you. Cloud cover throughout the day today. You see a little shower activity making its way through the northern portions of the viewing area, Eugene, Corvallis. Dallas with some of that higher elevation snow, and we still could be looking at some scattered showers as we get on into this evening. In fact, let's break down the next 40 hours, and like I said, some scattered showers, some higher elevation snow tonight. I think we get late tonight, early Tuesday morning. We'll get a little bit of a break from that. You start out Tuesday morning seeing a little bit of rainfall out on the coast, and then as we get into Tuesday afternoon, you can see some of those showers may pull inland. It's when we get into Wednesday, late Tuesday night into Wednesday morning, you start to see that next round of shower activity. You can see some heavy pockets of shower activity there along with that higher elevation snow. That'll continue through a good chunk of the day on Wednesday. We start to get into Wednesday afternoon, early Wednesday evening, and that possibility of precipitation starts to break down. Now, what we do see going on out there, we've got this warm front pushing on through. That'll bring us the chance of rainfall on Tuesday, and then we've got another front right behind it, and that's going to bring us the more significant rainfall that we're looking for on Wednesday. But then you notice that ridge of high pressure right behind that. That should be pulling through as we get toward the end of the week. We're actually going to have a couple days where we may see some dry conditions. Now, overnight, not expecting much in the way of rainfall, maybe a few hundredths of an inch of rain. And then as we get through the day Tuesday, get into Wednesday morning, I think we could see about a tenth of an inch to a quarter of an inch along I-5, maybe about a third of an inch, a little bit more for the coast. But then we progress through the day on Wednesday, see some of that heavier rainfall move through the area. And of course, you can see those numbers really ticking up. Overnight temperatures are going to be in the low 40s along I-5, low to mid 40s for the coast. And those highs tomorrow pretty much in the low to mid 50s across the area. 7-day outlook for the Eugene-Springfield area. Again, we could see some showers, especially for tomorrow afternoon. And then rain will be likely on Wednesday with some scattered showers to get the day off to a start on Thursday. You'll notice the next couple of days, those highs are going to be in the low 50s. But as we get to the end of the week and the upcoming weekend, we do get a little bit warmer with those highs getting into the upper 50s. Some scattered showers will be possible on Saturday with rain likely to finish out the weekend on Sunday. For the Roseburg area, maybe a few isolated showers on Tuesday with rain likely on Wednesday. I think you'll get a break on Thursday and Friday. I think your rainfall will come to an end very early Thursday morning. Temperatures in the low 50s the next couple of days, getting back into the upper 50s as we finish out the week. A few isolated showers on Saturday with a good chance of rainfall on Sunday. And then for the Coos Bay area, again, some scattered showers possible tomorrow with rain likely on Wednesday. Again, your rainfall could come to an end early Thursday morning. Should be looking at dry conditions otherwise for Thursday and Friday. Your temperatures in the low to mid 50s the next couple of days, upper 50s for the weekend. 50-50 shadow rain on Saturday with rain likely on Sunday.
All right, thanks so much, Alan. And coming up, Oregon State baseball wrapped up the College Baseball Classic today, and we recap Oregon baseball series win over Toledo. In your Slinde Sports Report next.
The Oregon State baseball team has started the 2025 season averaging 10 runs per game, only giving up 3 runs in the Beavers' first 3 games. Oregon State wrapping up the College Baseball Classic today with another game against Xavier as Helen Oaks gets the strikeout at the top of the first. Oaks finished with 4 strikeouts on the day, then speeds up the bat. Bottom of the first, Jacob Craig goes yard, sending one deep into left field, and it's out of here. Good for the grand slam, and OSU takes a 5-0 lead. Oregon State wasting no time at the plate today. Bottom of the second now, Bryce Hubbard smacks one in the right field gap. Another RBI for the Beavers, scoring multiple ways, and just like that, it's 9-2 OSU. Keep it coming. Bottom of the fifth, OSU up 11-2. Jacob Craig, have yourself a day. The junior sends another one over the wall for his second home run of the day, and 7 RBIs for Craig, another 2 runs on the scoreboard for the Beavs, and nothing holding Oregon State back today. The Beavers crush Xavier 18-6, the final. Meanwhile, the Oregon baseball team got the 3-1 series win over Toledo this weekend at PK Park. Although the Ducks expected to be undefeated at this point, the team is focused on what they can do to improve this week. Oregon started the weekend with a win on Friday, but the Ducks offense struggled in the first game of the doubleheader on Saturday. The Ducks not scoring a run until the 8th inning, falling to the Rockets 5-3. Oregon responded in the second game on Saturday with 7 home runs, and the team finished strong with a 6-1 win on Sunday. But a lot of learning by the Ducks in the first series of the season.
There's good and I wouldn't say bad, but things to definitely improve on over the weekend. Obviously going 3-1 and expecting to go undefeated, but we're going to take this weekend to, learn. I think that's the biggest thing we can do this weekend is learn from what we can improve on and, work on that throughout the week.
The Ducks will focus on those areas of improvement this week before hosting Rhode Island for another 4-game series starting on Friday at 3:05 p.m. That's it for sports. Back to you.
All right, thanks so much, Erin. And still to come on Fox 34 News, one of Eugene's oldest homes could be getting a makeover. Details on potential renovations for the Mims House, and that's right after the break. And finally tonight, Eugene's oldest black-owned property is going to look a bit newer. The Mims House is looking to become more of a community space. The Mims homes, which are two houses that sit on a larger property, served as a refuge for black travelers and black University of Oregon students during segregation when hotels and campus housing denied them. Sally and Willie Mims have begun a project to expand their property, including a landscape redesign featuring historical elements like a millstone from Eugene's first grist mill, which produced grain into flour. A planned gazebo will serve as a space for public gatherings and events such as poetry slam sessions and guest speakers in partnership with the nonprofit Long Tom Watershed Council. Plans have been drawn up for the renovations, and the Mims say they hope the expansion project will transform the property into a dynamic and educational space for all.
We want to preserve that history. And the idea is the landscape is going to include elements of that history. So as people come, the public can go through and hear, either read or see parts of that history. The houses symbolize a lot of the strength of the community and what people can do when they come together.
Now, in order to bring this project to fruition, the Mims are asking for community support, grants and donations, hoping to raise at least $300,000. The Mims House is considered to be one of the oldest homes in Eugene. Well, thank you so much for joining us for Fox 34 News at 7. We'll be back with more news and weather tonight at 10. Have a great night.
You're watching Fox 34.